Nora.
Well, comadres, here we are again. How wonderful to see so many of you. And I think I saw some of you just a short while ago. We have so many events. It is so exciting to have an opportunity to connect with you about these many wonderful things that we have to share. And tonight's special event was something Maria Ferrer and I kind of jointly came up with, and I said, let's do something for the Day of the Dead. And she said, Esperanza will do the altares. And I said, and we've got Comadre Mariana, who's cooks incredibly and has this book about dining with the dead. Let's use that. And we actually have a t-shirt. I cannot find it. I apologize. It's someplace in my room, pero no sé dónde. So, and that art is by Perla, which you all saw in the email that Maria sent out. That particular art is by Perla Leal, who used to live in Austin and now lives in Florida. And so the exciting thing is that, yes, Charlie, she lives over in your area, actually. She lives in Clearwater. And so we want to welcome these two amazing women, Esperanza Beltran, who is, I know you recognize her name because she does edits our newsletter. And so we're very grateful to you, Esperanza, for that. Each of them will tell you a little bit about themselves as they talk about what they're doing. And then Comadre Mariana, somebody we met, I guess it's been just 3 years, Mariana, ¿verdad? Que we met each other. We actually, she went to the first comadrazo when it snowed in Austin.
Yes.
Remember, we drove in the snow to get to that comadrazo, and it was so much fun, and we've become fast friends since then. And she's trying to teach me to cook, but so far it hadn't worked. But let me turn it over to Maria to say a few words, and then we'll get on with the program.
Hi, welcome everyone. We're very excited to celebrate the Day of the Dead with all of you. And we picked Esperanza and Mariana because, it's so exciting what they do. And I'm not going to tell you a lot. Nora already told you. Esperanza is our newsletter editor. And Mariana has written a wonderful book. Wait till you see it. The pictures are gorgeous and it's humongous. So we all need one of those. So Esperanza, introduce yourself and tell us about how to create our altar.
All right. Hi, everyone. This is my first time giving any kind of presentation, so I'm a little nervous. So bear with me. But so my name is Esperanza, and like Maria and Nora said, I am one of the writers, editors of the newsletter. And I am a writer. Also, I work as an editor with Dr. Nogales, and I am working on my first novel, which is, I have the first draft finished. I'm working on the edits. And it's about my grandmother. It's based on my grandmother. And well, the reason I'm writing is because I didn't like her, but she's going to be on my altar. But the reason for the book is because I want to understand her and understand why she was the way she was. So I have my altar. I only set this up right now. I think hopefully, there we go. So I only set up this, and I'll set up my other stuff. I've been setting up altars for about 10 years now, every year. And unfortunately, every year there's someone new. But I try to add as many people as I can. So I'll start with, I created this yesterday when I was making the vases. So I was cutting my flowers, and I have a little, if you can see it. So I have a little silver tray, and so sometimes there's flowers that, they just bend and they're just kind of breaking and falling. So I just cut the little tips and put a little bit of water, and then they create a really nice base. So I was trying to figure out yesterday how I'm going to do it. So then I also have a candle. So I melted this into a little, those little candles. I don't know what they're called, tea lights. So I melted a big candle there. And then I have a little de barro, and clay, and just some fruit and peanuts that my, family ate, mandarin, stuff like that. And I also have, so I have these coffee beans so I have these coffee beans because, well, my grandmother, I don't know if you can see them, but there you go. When she died, she left a whole basket of coffee beans that she didn't have a chance to finish, toasting and making into coffee. So I have them, I keep them, and I put them out on this, for the Day of the Dead. And then I also have, so I put my water here. This is my mom gave this to me, and I'm just keeping my water there. And of course, bread. And also the bread is from, well, my family is from Oaxaca, so the bread is from Oaxaca. And I usually saran wrap any food that I have because of flies and whatnot. So that's my bread. It's very delicious. I love that bread. And my coffee, well, coffee for them, which my little jars. And so I try to change the coffee, at least every 2 days. Do that. And then I have this is from a blouse, from a blouse from Oaxaca. And the reason I use this is because of the color. It just reminds me of my grandma, the way they used to dress. So it just gives it that color that I really like. That reminds me of them. And of course, the drink. Can't be without that. Gotta have that. And so my pictures, I wanted to share just a little project. I made these because the pictures are kind of big and my space is small. So I cut out small pieces of 2x3 paper. That's my grandmother. So I cut pieces of 2x3. I printed out some pictures in black and white like this. And so what you do is paint the background, just any paint, colors, anything, marker. And then you put tape on it. And so the image will come off like this. It's just regular packing tape. And then you dip it in water and scrape off the paper. And the tape will still stay sticky. And then you'll have something like this, which is kind of looks like a negative. And then you tape it on the back of your painted background. So like this. And then you have that. So I created a bunch of them. Just different colors. And I'm gonna hang them. I'm gonna hang them right here. And it also works like those banner things that they sell, Papel Picado. They work as that. Well, to me, it just looks like, it's colorful, and I don't have Papel Picado, so I'm doing this. And that gives it a lot of color too. Yeah.
Mi amor, can we ask you, one comadre put down, what is the significance of the orange flowers?
Okay, so the cempasúchil, well, there's a legend that I found, and I'll share it with you. It's let's see. Is it okay if I read it? Because I didn't memorize the names. It's not long. It's like 2 paragraphs. Yeah. So, and it's gonna be in the newsletter. So this is the legend of the cempasúchil. It says, according to the Mexica legend of the cempasúchil flower, Xochitl and Huitzilin were childhood friends who fell in love in their adolescence. One day, they decided to go to the top of the hill where they knew that the sun god Tonatiuh lived and shone bright. They asked him to bless their love, and seeing how strong their love was, he did just that, blessing them with his light. Not long after, war broke out in their village, and Huitzilin was called to defend his people. Xochitl was sad to be separated from him, but hoped they would be joined soon, once the war was over. She waited and waited until one day she received news that her lover, Huitzilin, had died on the battlefield. Completely devastated, Xochitl ran up the hill to Tonatiuh and pleaded with him to let her be joined with the love of her life. Seeing her immense pain, the sun god shone his bright light on her with such force that she dissolved into the ground. There, a flower grew, but remained a closed bud for a very long time. Attracted by the bud scent, a hummingbird one day approached it and touched its beak to the center of the bud. Recognizing the hummingbird as Huitzilin, Xochitl opened herself, revealed her bright orange color, and released the strong scent of what she became, the cempasúchil flower that Tonatiuh had turned her into. It has since been said that as long as there are hummingbirds and cempasúchil flowers, the love of Xochitl and Huitzilin will endure. And that's a legend, and it's a very beautiful legend. I liked it. But yeah, so what I found we were talking about this with Mariana, there's so many versions of, where Day of the Dead and the flower and all that comes from. But one thing that I found that I think is really interesting is that they thought that these flowers, because of their bright color, called the attention of the dead, and they knew they could find their path to the home of their loved ones, along with the candles. But it's the bright color and the smell that leads them home. And that's one version that I found that's nice. It's a nice version. Yeah. So that'll be my altar for this year. Sometimes and each year is very different. Sometimes we spread flowers all over as a bed. Just lay the fruit in between. This year we're planning on, because we're gonna do our family one. My kids really enjoy doing this. They ask me every year. They enjoy it more than Thanksgiving, more than Christmas. They prefer to do this setup than the Christmas tree, which is, I love that. But we're planning on hanging like a nice fabric and then sticking the pictures on there, and then maybe wrapping it with the flowers. We're lucky. I don't know if anybody's in LA, but if you go to the flower market in LA, they have tons and tons of cempasúchil flowers. I bought my bucket for $30. That's the average. $35 is a big bucket of. Let me see if I can. So that's my big bucket of flowers right there that we're gonna use, and they smell so beautiful. I love it. They have a beautiful, beautiful smell.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's my altar.
Can we ask how long do you leave the altar up for?
I leave it up for about 5 days. But I did, like I said, there's so many different versions, but one thing that I found, whether it applies to every place, I don't know, but October 28th is considered for people who were killed violently or who died tragically. So it starts from October 28th, according to what I found. And then October 30th is for children who died before they were baptized. October 31st is for the youngest babies. And November 1st is for saints, and that includes baptized children. And then November 2nd is for All Souls, which is where we all kind of fall into. And then I also found, there's different levels. There's, 2 levels that represents the earth and heaven, earth and heaven. They have some thoughts on, what goes where, which is, like, for example, the image of the saint goes at the bottom. If you have 7 levels, you put your saint at the bottom, and then all the way at the top goes cross, which is kind of like representative of where they're going, I guess. There's also, it includes salt, which is meant to purify a soul. Pan de Muerto, as always. And then And then also, I didn't know this, the cross, they can put a cross next to each picture made of salt or seeds. But I usually leave it up for, about 5 days. I remove it by about November 5th.
Do you turn on the candles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was, I'll share a quick story, which I shared with you, Marie, yesterday. So one day, I for my book, I was doing some investigating with my family. So one of my aunts, I asked her about, dead people or something. And then, she asked me if I believed, and I said, yeah, because one time I had my altar, and I had a little dog, and he was barking and barking at the altar, and there was nobody home. It was just me and the dog, and he was barking at the altar, and suddenly, the tablecloth that I had, it just kind of like, did kind of this, and then the candle, it flickered, and he just kept barking, and there was no, the doors were closed because it was winter. There was nowhere for there to be a breeze. So to me, that was, somebody showed up, I guess. I don't know, but I do think that they know, at least, that we're honoring them.
I'm sure the spirit was there.
You think so? Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
for
so.
sure.
Yeah.
Do anybody else have any more questions for Esperanza?
And also
have-
to tell you, go ahead. Go ahead, Recuerdos.
Oh, okay. Hi. Hola, querida. How are you, my
Hi,
love?
Jackie.
Buenas
Good, how
noches
are
a
you?
todos. I wanted to ask you, do you ever do any particular prayers or any music or any singing or anything like that, or chanting to the altar for them?
No, I don't. No. I mean, I'll put music at home, but no, nothing that I like, that a specific prayer or anything, no.
But it's
No,
not a bad
that's good
idea, right?
It's not a bad idea. I like it. Yeah, I like that idea.
And the other thing, that some of you have just joined us, so just letting you know that we are going to have this on YouTube, so you'll be able to catch up. You don't want to miss it. She has done an amazing job of kind of pulling a lot of things together and adding things really that I had not heard before, Esperanza. So it's been wonderful. Oh yeah, I believe you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Target has done a great job at putting together a whole list of products in store for Dia de los Muertos altars. They even have a small one that's desk size. If you didn't have a large space, I love your table, and I hope to have one like that in my home next year. But if you have a small space, they have a small foldable altar that you can set up with little 1x2 pictures, and it even comes with miniature breads and flowers and a little cart and everything like that. So check your local Target, and they even have little papel picados. So that's a place to look at. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Well, when we send the link, I think we need to send that Target link so that people can go look there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and we should ask people to send us pictures of their altars.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Now we can put it in the newsletter. That'd be nice.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Nidia. Welcome, Comadre.
Hola, comadre. Yes, I have a question.
Hola.
How long do you keep the altar?
About 5 days. I don't think it's 5 days. So by the fourth or fifth, I'll remove my things.
Okay, is there any ritual or ceremony to remove it, or just,
Not that I do know. If there is any, I don't know. But I just pick everything up. What I have a hard time is, do I eat the stuff that I that I removed? That's the decision I sometimes have to make. Tamales, of course, have to go to the trash. But my bread, I love my bread. But I don't know. Sometimes I'll sometimes eat it. Sometimes I won't. Depends on how I'm feeling. But that's one of my questions. If anybody does that, what do you do?
No.
Mariana says, no, you don't
No,
need
no.
it.
Well, it is believed that the souls eat the spirit of the
The
food,
energy.
you know, the
Yeah,
essence of the
energy
food,
the-
and as a token of respect for our departed, we should not eat the foods. Also, you know, because it's like at the same time when you offer foods in the altar, that's why we also celebrate, you know, on the side with the same bread or the, you know, other pieces for us or the family with different tamalitos or mole or whatever you prefer to celebrate with. And that's a way to commune with, you know, commune with the departed. But yes, it's supposed to not to eat what is on the altar. But I do understand you. I love bread too.
In a household, in a household, who is
Tish?
the person who does who starts the altar, or everybody contributes?
I think
We
it's
all and like, you mean in general or myself?
In your home? It's
In my home, we all do. My kids get excited taking out the pictures because we keep the pictures put away, the ones that we always use. So my daughter mostly is the one who gets excited about the pictures. My son, my 19-year-old, the one you didn't meet, Nora, he gets excited about how we're going to set up. What do we need to do? Do we need to take out stuff? And then my youngest one, he's 11. He just likes knowing who was who and who's that and what they did and who they are.
Mhm.
So, and then my husband and I, we enjoy it. We really enjoy it. We all enjoy it as a family. But I think I'm the one who usually, okay, it's time to set up. And then everyone's like, okay, you know.
And at your home, was your mother the one in charge of that?
She never set up an altar, no. Now she does, but she never did. And she was born, and that's funny why she didn't. I don't know. She was born November 4th. Her birthday is November 4th. And because, well, my family didn't, well, my grandparents didn't know anything like calendars and dates and all that stuff. So the way she knew her birthday was because it was what her mother would tell her, my grandmother, that it was 2 days after the Day of the Dead, after the other. That's how she knew her birthday. Because, well, my family didn't speak Spanish. So they just said, you know, that day that they celebrate the dead, and then you were born 2 days later. So that's how she knew her birthday. So they never really celebrated. I don't know. I need to ask my mom. But my mom didn't put an altar. I just kind of started doing it myself. And then my mom followed me, actually. So now she does it.
So you are Zapotec, is that correct, Comadre?
Yeah, I'm Zapotec.
So Zapotec is a tribe, an Indian, indigenous tribe in Mexico, a very large one.
Yeah, a very large one. Yeah, 98% Zapotec, and then 1%. What is that one from Peru? I forget the name. And then 1% Maya, 2% from Peru, indigenous groups from Peru. So I'm all
indigenous.
All indigenous, yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
What's the language? Is Quechua or what's the language?
Zapotec.
Zapotec.
Okay. Okay.
I believe Charlie had a question.
And then Tish, okay?
Oh, okay.
I was going
Charlie?
to say it wasn't so much a question. I do altars as well, little witchy here. And what I found was that when you do the fruit and you offer it to whoever you're offering it or in memory of, if afterwards, when it's over and you're ready to take down your altar, if you bury the fruit or whatever food that you were offering, and you could put it in a plant or you can put it by a tree, I found that it always makes those things bloom. I mean,
Wow.
they just go, hey, I put it on my plum tree once that I never watered this plum tree and I figured it was going to die. It fed the entire neighborhood. The next time it bloomed, it just plums everywhere. And from a skinny itty bitty tree that you figure wouldn't do it. And it was just a real blessing. So I would bury it personally. But that's one way of being able to have them with you throughout the year as well.
Great idea. Another great idea.
I love that idea.
Tish?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing altars for a very long time, and one of the things that I do before I put anything is I do a blessing with sage. And then as I do my blessing, I welcome them, but to be nice, because they also scared one of my cats a lot. And so I ask them to be nice. And then after I take everything down, I do another blessing, thanking them for their visit and onto their journey.
Oh,
But I do it
that's
with
nice.
sage.
I think we need to put together a book. I like what I'm hearing, which is I haven't heard it before. All right, comadres, that's our next project.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Any
Sounds
other
great.
questions for Esperanza?
There's a question in the chat that's really interesting from Lourdes.
Okay, and she says, how would I be able to find out what indigenous people my family roots are from?
I used Ancestry. There's others, but I used Ancestry. And it was, I did the Mother's Day special. They do a 50% special on Mother's Day. Yeah. And, but
There's
I
also
think there's
23andMe.
23. Yeah, 23andMe. Yeah.
I use, yeah, I used 23andMe, and I realized that I was 16% native. So I took the test to my mom, to Argentina, and she turned out to be 30% native from the north of Argentina and from Santiago de Chile.
The other thing about those that have been mentioned, they're actually focused on different things. I believe that 23andMe does a whole lot around your medical background, you know,
Also,
disease and things of that nature that might have been in your family. And then the others focus on other, you know, they're known for different things. So you might
Right.
check that out.
It's $100 for the first, what I'm describing, and $100 for the medical. But the medical part has to be read by specialists because it's all in codes. So you have to spend extra money for somebody to read it. But who wants to know exactly all of that?
That might be
Unless you
another.
have a particular disease that goes, you know, from family history.
It's hereditary in your family.
Right.
That might be another very interesting thing for us to do, to talk about, you know, and have
Another
different
topic for
people tell their
discussion.
stories. Oh my goodness, I love what's happening here.
So let's introduce Mariana.
Hello.
So Mariana Nunez McEnroe. Did I get the name right?
No.
Well, I know her as Mariana McEnroe.
It's fine. It's Mariana Nuno-Ruiz is
Hi,
my
Nelly.
name, and my maiden, you know, married name is McEnroe, but I go with for both, and especially for, you know, I want to keep my Mexican names.
Yes, you've got it right, Comadre. Thank you so much. And please tell us more about it and the book and all the stuff you're going to share about dining with the dead.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your invitation, Norita and Maria and Esperanza. It's great to be here with you guys, ladies. Well, I'm an archi-chef. That's what I define myself with. I study architecture and then I study culinary arts. And I came to the States around 2008, and my husband is a photographer. So then we started a cooking blog. It's called Yes More Please. And after that, we were contacted by a publisher in Arizona who offered us a book. And the book was, the reason that he offered the book was because he saw one of our posts with a recipe that I wrote and shared in my blog about Pan de Muerto and the Day of the Dead celebration, little history and origins. So when he saw the post, he proposed us a book. So then we thought it was that he was just joking, right? And then we were like, well, maybe this is real. So we went into the full, you know, the idea of the cookbook of Dia de Muertos. For me, I had to re-pitch the book because I told my editor, the book cannot exist if the book doesn't include, I mean, the book needs to include history, origins, altars, ofrendas, significances, and then the food, because how the origins of Dia de Muertos and the tradition works. So thankfully, he listened to us, and we were able to write the book with all those elements in the book, and it was absolutely fantastic. Our journey started in 2016 with a trip to the region of Michoacán in Lake Pátzcuaro. I think that's the most pristine area where the tradition has kept, the essence and how more traditional way that they celebrate. Of course, it was mesmerizing. We visited several cemeteries on the night vigil, and we were able to talk to people. We really wanted to get immersed in the celebration, to listen to all these families that were at the cemeteries and in towns. A week before, you can start feeling all the excitement in the little towns with the flowers and everything arriving. So after that, after our trip, it was like 3 weeks or more, we came back to Austin. We started writing the book. We have one of the best libraries, Latin American libraries here in Austin. It's called Lilas Benson Library. And thanks to that library, also a lot of research. I could do a lot of research about Dia de Muertos and the history and origins. And after 5 years of writing a book, researching all the recipes that belong to my family and others that I learned from cocineras tradicionales, traditional cooks in Michoacán, that I was able to, also put the stories on the book of what I learned and their craft. That's how the book came about. So the book has history, origins of the elements and significances. It also talks about Mexican cuisine, from kitchen supplies, ingredients, how to distinguish from dry chiles, fresh chiles, how to treat them, and a whole journey of 120 recipes that mostly these recipes are traditional, beloved recipes, Mexican, that we use in Mexico for celebrations. Let's say a baptize, a birthday, a holiday, any other holiday. And now, why they are on the book? Because Day of the Dead is a celebration where we Mexicans believe that our souls come and visit us every year, right? For a span of one night. And we better prepare them something delicious, right? And we always want to pamper them with what they enjoyed in life. So we usually have part of the altars or the ofrendas could be things that they enjoy in life, from garments, music, a t-shirt, a hat, their favorite tobacco or cigarettes or anything, and also their favorite foods. And in Mexico, it happens to be that our favorite foods are that, right? Like our traditional foods. If your grandma or your mom ask you, "Ay, mijito, what do you want for your birthday, or what should I prepare you?" And then you definitely will ask for mole or tamales or pozole or something that is so rich for us. So that's why the recipes are these kind of recipes in the book. Now, there are certain recipes that by region, regionality is very important on Dia de Muertos in Mexico. Each state celebrates a little different. They have their own, plates and dishes and seasonality, ingredients. And there are some recipes in the book, and I talk about them. For example, mole negro in Oaxaca, that are made exactly for Dia de Muertos. There's also a type of corundas, it's a pentagonal tamal or tamalito in Michoacán. And I learned those. I learned how to make those from a cocinera tradicional, Rosalba Morales Bartolo, and they're made for Dia de Muertos. There's also round tamal. It's more like a pie, and I can even show you because it's in the book as well. And it's called Mukbil Pibi Pollo, and it's a Yucatecan tamal that is wrapped in banana leaf, and it's made for the Hanal Pixan, which is the Mayan Day of the Dead. So as you can see, our Dia de Muertos is extremely vast and complex, and also the history is not linear. It has changed through the years from the origin of cemeteries that has to be with how the verbena or this celebration at the cemeteries happen, and also you can find that story in the book, and how it has evolved through the years until how we celebrate now at home. And all of these I consider that there are extremely important. Not one is more important than other. And I think the meaning is what makes us enrich the tradition. For example, Esperanza, I absolutely adore the fact that she involved her family, her kids, and that their kids are more excited to build the altar than, other holiday. So that's fantastic. And I think that's what today Dia de Muertos means. I mean, that celebration where you can make it as little as you can or as humongous and spectacular. I mean, that is equally important. And for example, also in the book, there's a section on how to assemble your altar. And I also talk about, little, just a small table altar and walk you through it to the elements that the altars could have, from a table setting to maybe a bigger setup. But I think that the most important is the elements that you and your family consider important. One, for you, and two, to remember your beloved one. That's what's the most important. So if you consider that your grandpa absolutely loved that hat that is in that closet in the garage, bring it to your altar, put the hat there, and put like Esperanza, put the little Bacardi or the alcohol that they enjoy, make him a cafecito, everything that creates like an ambience to receive your guests, because basically we are receiving our guest from far away. So I don't know. I mean, that's what is more important to me at this moment.
So I'm sorry, not knowing if I want it, when can I start it? Because I don't have any. Can I start it today, tomorrow? When do I start?
Yes, honestly, I mean, for example, in Mexico, in some parts they're very methodic, let's say, and they start if they have small children or small souls, as they call it, almas chiquitas. They start on the span, meaning on the night of the 31st to the 1st of November. That is a night vigil. And when they consider that the souls are in transit. So then the altars can be placed on the 31st, or since the 28th, as Esperanza mentioned. And it's all in your personal beliefs. If you just have adult people in your altar, you can just start it the night of. I personally place it a week or 3 days in advance, but I light it up, meaning I just light the candles and place the food and everything until that day, like November 1st at night, at 12 o'clock, everybody will arrive. So that's when I light the candles, and then I start the night vigil. Obviously, here in the city, it's hard to stay up all night. So basically what my husband and I, what we do is like our family is like two, he and I. So we just stay a couple of hours, along the ofrenda, and we have a nice dinner. We prepare a couple of dishes for our beloved ones, and Pan de Muerto is always there, their favorite drinks at least. And since again we're just two of us, well, we just have created a very intimate momentum just to remember our beloved ones. So I would say do as you can accommodate best. If you are celebrating babies or somebody, innocent souls, as they call it, you can start since November 1st at night. October 31st at night, lighting up the candles. That's what makes it like alive, like let's say the table is served, come and that's what it lights up. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Is the Mayan Day of the Dead a different time, or is it the same dates?
Well, the Mayan has almost the same dates. One, because the source of the origins of the Dia de Muertos is Catholic, and basically a lot of books, or let's say scholars, talk about different origins being like indigenous, but during my research, I really think that it was totally a separate celebration, right? I mean, the way that our indigenous people celebrate and their cosmovision and what they believe is totally different than what the conquest and the evangelization process took. So in this Mayan, I think it lasts for a week, and they do celebrate different. They have, for example, in some cases, they take all the rest of the bones of the deceased and they clean them and place them in the altar, just as the same way. I know it sounds kind of like what is going on, but just as the same way, for example, in very traditional Catholic towns in Spain, or they have the reliquaries, and how they, in these days of Dia de Fieles Difuntos, they put them outside of the churches to bless them, and people buy candies called huesos de santo or bread just to, bless them, and then you go home and commune with your deceased or your difuntos. Is the same way in Maya, in Mayan culture. But it's like the reason in the book I wanted to include a little bit about the history and the origins and different regions. So just to understand, or starting to understand, the scope of Dia de Muertos and how intricate the fabric of this tradition is. Beside that, how we celebrate now, which is a lot of folk and a lot of fiestas and a lot of, which also is very entertaining and Mexican-like, but also the meanings are amazing. And for me, that's what I like the most. Mm-hmm.
Comadre, would you show us some of this from your book?
Yes, like for example, I have a, whoopsie. Just for startings, Esperanza mentioned the Pan de Muerto. So I have the recipe here. I think this is the ultimate ofrenda, offering on food. And I have the recipe with the step-by-step photos and how to shape your bread. And also I included the recipe of the Oaxacan bread that is called pan de yema. And I kind of explained the difference and the nuances. And then also in Oaxaca, they have this little bread, it's called carubs, that have some faces in it, because each bread represents a soul. And the faces are made basically either of clay or plastic, and it has the saint or the figure. Honestly, I didn't want to copy the aesthetics because here in the States, it's really hard to find those, right? But what I did is just I placed these little watercolors of the heads where you can photocopy and then just place them in the bread. And this could be fun for kids, just to show them how to make an ofrenda. Or if you have, are celebrating a little baby that has passed, that could be a good way to, to make it at home. What else? Like I said, the book at the beginning, it has all the photography has been done by my husband and me. Some photos I did, but mostly my husband. This is one night vigil at the cemeteries. And then the first, 50 pages, I'll talk about everything, the origins and history. And then even the Katrina and the origins of the Katrina. And then a collage about all these characters and personalities that have influence on the story of Dia de Muertos. We talk about how we visit a lot of the flower fields in Tarímbaro, in Michoacán, and the opportunity we had to talk to people, that harvest the flowers. How does it feel to be around those days? It's like a synergy, a fantastic synergy on the places, like everything start transforming into this happy ambience. People are not sad. People is like excited because they're gonna commemorate and honor their beloved ones. They don't feel sad. And we visited more than 7 cemeteries during the night vigil. Even the days before, you could see people, cleaning the tombs and all the, the decorations, and sometimes they even paint them and just, remozando las tumbas. Like in this case, it was a beautiful afternoon, and these 2 ladies had been removing every single weed and leaving super clean for the next day. They were going to come with all the flowers. And this is, for example, a photo of an example of a night vigil. This is un abuelito. And it was with his 2 grandchilds, and they were commemorating his wife, the grandma. And you see all the baskets and flowers. The cemeteries, they have so many candles that is almost like daylight. You sometimes you forget it's night because it's such a bright and beautiful place. And as you can see in this photo, there's a family, from babies to mothers, brothers, everybody's there commemorating their beloved ones. And at times, to be honest, it felt a little intrusive for us to be there because it was such a beautiful family moment. But at every time, we would always greet them, ask them if it was okay to take a picture, ask them always for permission, ask them who were they celebrating. And it was just a magical night to be.
Before you change that page, if you go back to the page you were on,
of course.
I don't know if anybody else sees it, but I see a figure on the right hand side in whatever that is. It looks like a a figure, a face coming down. I don't know if you see that.
Oh my God, which one? Which one?
On your right hand side by the, yeah, right there.
Okay,
No, para el otro lado.
este.
Ahí mismito que se ve como una persona, no, más para arriba, que se ve como una cara.
Ah,
Wet
I don't
there,
see it,
I don't-
but it could be. I mean, the place was absolutely
yeah.
magical and with a very, very good energy because
Mhm.
I guess it's all the love that people, you know, and the enthusiasm with what they participate, and all these baskets were filled of tamales and meals, and even people will offer you apples or anything, you know, like they would offer you some little snacks or stuff like that. And then, you know, we talk about more of the formal altars and ofrendas, elements and significances of each element. And we just wanted to inform, you know, like I think that nothing should be the way it should be. I mean, I think it's at this point in time and how the tradition has evolved, you make it your own. You make it your own. If for you is important the cross with salt, do it. But how about if your beloved one was a Buddhist? Then place a Buddhist, plant a Buddha, or you know, is whatever makes you commemorate them and honor them. So then a section of cooking and how Mexican cuisine, you know, had developed some of the equipment. Like I said, this is more like informative of aromatics, cinnamon, one of the most important ingredient, canela mexicana, and then herbs, chiles frescos, chiles secos, how to treat them, and then a section of basic cooking, you know, elements from caldos, and then maize, how important maize and has been in our culture, the process of nixtamalization, explain step by step to make masa, tortillas, pozoles.
Great photos.
Yes. Pardon?
Beautiful photos.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
We worked really hard just to make them very explanatory, you know, so they can illustrate and guide you really well. That is not just the pretty photo of the tortilla, like you can make it if you follow these steps. Then antojitos mexicanos, you know, section of small little bites that we use also in big celebrations. Enchiladas potosinas, pozoles, all the kind of pozoles. This section is very dear to me because white pozole, I learned it from my grandma, and this is her recipe. Then the red pozole is from my aunt, the sister of my mom's, and she allowed me to share her recipe. So it's really, you know, a labor of love that I feel like I wanted to share with the world my roots. And then pozole guerrerense, which is a pozole verde. And then a section of moles, and it's again, you know, from the each chapter at the beginning, it has the origins and history of that dish. For example, the section at the beginning of moles, I kind of walk you a little bit into the history and the meaning of the moles. Oops. I have mole poblano, another turkey legs with mole verde. This mole is very easy to make, and also because the use of the pepitas, you know, the pumpkin seeds, is extremely seasonal and very easy to make for these days. mole amarillo, which also is a mole from the Siete Moles from Oaxaca. And this mole also is considered one of the dishes that they make for Dia de Muertos. Mole amarillo and mole negro. Mole coloradito, this is very easy to make. I mean, it's a fast mole. And of course, the king of moles. This will take you probably 2 days. I know it sounds a lot, but if you want to challenge yourself in the kitchen, you can do it. It's a mole that has more than 32 ingredients. But I kind of like separate the method or propose you a method to the madness. I make like 3 different sauces and then I marry them. So it's a little more comprehensive than just
What kind of food, what do you cook with that?
mole. Mole you
No,
can put
that variety of ingredients. The 30 something.
the 32 is just for one sauce that is called mole.
I know, but not all the moles have the same amount of ingredients.
Yes, no. For example, that mole negro has 32, mole coloradito maybe has 12, mole verde around 12 to 15. You know,
But is any of them better for meats or for vegetables?
well, yes. I mean, for example, I consider that mole verde is delicious with vegetables. Any sort of vegetables, from pumpkins, calabacitas, and fish or shrimp. You see, and this is how I propose it in the book. This is the mole verde. You can make it in the blender, and then I pair it, you know, with calabacitas, zucchinis, and sweet potato. You know, for any vegetarian souls that you that you're welcoming. And yes, this is fantastic for that. Or even if you want to put it over portobello mushrooms,
Oh, yeah.
will work really delicious. Yes, it's very herbaceous and nutty. Mole coloradito, I think it goes best with pork or chicken, since the chiles, you know, are a little more flavorful and intense flavor. So I will do that. And mole negro is typically served either with turkey, chicken, any form of protein, which is what is a custom. But hey, you can come up with any combinations you like.
For red meat, what's
well, I don't usually in Mexico, not a lot of people combine mole with red meat.
Oh, interesting.
But you can try and see how it goes. And then there's this amazing mole, which is kind of like a stew, between a stew and a mole, and includes vegetables. This recipe is from Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz and cochinita pibil from the peninsula in Yucatan. And of course, a chapter of tamales. And I have tamales from, you know, fresh corn. These are from the state of Michoacan, and they're made just with fresh corn at the beginning of the season when the corn is very tender and juicy, and they're made in the same green corn husks. And they can be served sweet or savory, which is very tempting. And then the classical traditional tamales verdes and tamales rojos. And again, I try to walk you through the recipes as much as I can, especially in the ones that need a little extra explanation, you know, like how to assemble a tamal, because I consider that, well, that's the best I can do. And
Comadres, y'all are going to have to buy the book to read the end.
Yes.
No, don't read the end. Don't tell us the end.
Don't tell us the end. Okay, well, there's like a section of sweets and calabaza en tacha, drinks, you know, aguas frescas, a lot of salsas, and things that you can use all year around to, like from rice and how to cook beans. Comadrita Nora, have you cooked your beans?
I have not,
But
but I will.
you will. And then on the back, there's a section of, adult drinks, if you want to indulge on that, from punches and the how to assemble your altars, how to make your sugar skulls. Sugar skulls are also have a very important place on the altars, and the story of the sugar skulls is in the book too. Papel Picado, how to make some paper flowers. You can make a paper flower party if you want. And I'm not going to tell you the end because that's what
It's very complete, really,
It
really.
is.
It's amazing.
It
Alright.
is.
That is
And
amazing. That's very
Just
good.
put the link, please, to
yes,
shop.
Maria has a link in here, comadre, about where we can get it. Let's see if it's the
Yeah,
right.
Amazon is sold out.
Yes, this season, yes, they sold out, but you can, if you're in Austin, we have several events coming up. If you're in San Antonio, there's events coming up. If you're not in Austin or San Antonio, I guess a lot of people is in LA. There's a couple.
In New York,
Yeah.
in
New York,
Chicago.
there is a
Florida.
a
Florida.
bookstore in New York that carries them. Is in our website. If you visit our website, diningwiththedead.com, you find we have in New York, in Seattle, in San Francisco, LA, San Diego. But the best bet, if you just want to ship it to your home, you can go to rionuevo.com, which is our publisher, and they can just ship you one book directly to your house. If there's not, the option of Amazon, because right now they sold out and probably it take a couple of days to refill the order. Yes.
Mariana, we have a question. Somebody wants to
claro.
know how long it took you to write your book.
It took us 5 years.
Mhm.
5 years of my husband was very supportive of this project, so we both work on it. He was working full-time while I was working full-time in the book. So my work during those 5 years was research, recipe testing, and all the crafts and everything that involved to the book, from the design and the setup of the book as well. So 5 years.
Wonderful. Comadre Mariana, thank you so, so much. And Comadre Esperanza, the two of you together, Maria, we did a great job. This is absolutely, the two dovetailed and supported each other and gave us many ideas. And really, the tradition grows stronger in me and in my heart from having heard the two of you talk about what you did this evening. Thank you very, very much from the bottom of our hearts for your thing. Comadre Maria, you want to say some last words?
So we just want to thank everyone for joining us. And, thank again, Esperanza and Mariana. It was a beautiful presentation of the altar of the book. We're in love with your book and all the recipes and the history. And Esperanza, those marigolds are beautiful, stunning. And I love the little pictures and how you made them. I want a private tutorial. But again, we want to say thank you to everyone and Feliz Dia de los Muertos. And we, for the fall newsletter, whoever is putting together their altar, please send us a photo and we can certainly include it in our newsletter. Esperanza is writing a great article about Day of the Dead celebrations, so that would make an excellent addition.
So Mariana Nuno-Ruiz
Sí.
and Esperanza Beltran.
Yes.
Mil gracias. Here's my book.
Oh, nice.
Here's my
Yes.
book. Yes, yes. And
Gracias, Nora and Maria.
have a great evening, everybody.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone.
Thank you so
Felicidades.
much.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.